Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Stephen King Cast, one man's musings on the works of Stephen King. Each week, I will review one entry in the bibliography of Stephen King in the chronological order of publication. And this week's episode is a little bit different than the typical Stephen King Cast episodes. So just so you're aware, this intro, this voice that you're hearing right now, is being captured on a Yeti microphone on January 17th, 2026. But the episode itself, which you're about to hear, is from July 16th, 2017. And the episode itself is a departure from what the show typically is, which is, usually every week I sit down and I record my thoughts on something related to Stephen King, whether it is a novel or a short story or a film or television adaptation of his works, or book reviews of horror authors. So it's still in the realm of horror, of which Stephen King is known to be the master of. But this was different. This episode was different because this was an interview with director Josh Brucker, the writer director of an intended film, One for the Road, which would have been an adaptation of One for the Road, the short story from Night Shift. So typically I don't do interviews. That wasn't the designation or the design of the Stephen King cast. Typically I don't like meeting my heroes. But after doing a couple interviews here and there on the show, I totally get the allure and the draw. It's fun. It's just fun to talk to people working in the field. So I really enjoyed doing this episode. I'm sad that this never came to fruition. As you'll see from this episode, there were a lot of really good ideas and there was a lot of potential. And Josh, he's got his horror bona fides. But how do you say that word? Bona fides. Bona fide? Anyway, I digress. He knows his horror. So this was fun, guys. I'm sorry that didn't work out, but I hope that you enjoy it. Hello and welcome to the Stephen King Cast, one man's musings on the works of Stephen King. Each week I'll review one entry in the bibliography of Stephen King in the chronological order of publication, and this episode is a departure from what I typically do. As I said, it's one man's musings on the works of Stephen King. Not this week, not tonight, not today, not this morning, not this afternoon, not whenever you're listening to this. This is a very special episode because, as you know, over the last few episodes of the Stephen King Cast, I've been talking about an upcoming Stephen King project, One for the Road, a movie based on Stephen King's short story from the 1970s publication of short stories, Night Shift. As you know, One for the Road is a very well-written, claustrophobic... I keep saying claustrophobic. It's not necessarily claustrophobic, but it's very tonally rich, very thrilling. It's a quick little short story taking place in a post-Salem's Lot world. So it's very effective. It gets right to the point, and it's just big on dread. It's just one of those short stories that really, really... And over the last few weeks, I have been really promoting this upcoming project, which is an adaptation on One for the Road. And today I have been lucky enough to have some time to actually sit down and talk with the writer-director of the upcoming adaptation One for the Road, Josh Brucker. And what you're about to listen to is almost an hour-long conversation in which Josh tells us about his life, about how he came to One for the Road, the process of acquiring a dollar baby, how you take the dollar baby and turn it into an actualization of a movie, what that whole process entails. Josh is someone you'll see that he's not living in Hollywood Hills. He had a vision and he's doing everything within his power to make that vision a reality. So it's really interesting to see what making a movie looks like from really the grassroots and from someone that really has a drive and a will and a resolve to actualize his vision. It was very, very inspiring to talk to him. We had not just a good conversation about One for the Road, but we just had a good conversation in general about inspiration, creativity, critters, Jurassic Park, and the much ignored Night Flyer. Josh and I were able to geek out over our mutual love of the great Stephen King adaptation of another vampire short story, Night Flyer. So I think that all you guys will enjoy it. Make sure, guys, that you check out One for the Road 2018.com. That's the official website for One for the Road. And if you go to Indiegogo and type in One for the Road, you'll be able to see the Indiegogo campaign, and it outlines everything that you can do to help make this movie come to fruition. This is the time, guys. We are in the midst of a massive resurgence of interest for Stephen King, and you can have a part in bringing a Stephen King adaptation to life. And after this conversation with Josh, I think that you will be completely on board. So enjoy. So I guess just to back up and just like really set the table, we're all going to know you as Josh Brucker, and that's how you pronounce your last name, right?
Yeah, and it's actually very awesome because you're probably the first person that I've ever met who's never heard my name before pronounce it correctly. So
does everyone say Brucker?
Yeah, it's usually Brucker, or for some reason, people have the tendency to add an N in, so it's like Bruckner, even though it's not in there at all. It's so weird.
Yeah, I hear that. So everyone is going to know you as Josh Brucker, the writer director of One for the Road. So I guess just back it up a little bit and just tell us about you, like where you come from, like what is your story, like when did you first find your creativity, when did you first find Stephen King, what led you down the road that ultimately led you to find One for the Road?
Well, I've been a fan of horror movies ever since I can really remember. Growing up, it's all I used to watch. My parents really didn't have much of a filter.
Yeah.
So my dad, he'd let me rent movies like Friday the 13th movies, Halloween, things like that. But the first movie, it's going to sound strange, but I was about 3 when Jurassic Park hit theaters. And, we think about it now. It's not. It's a fun movie to watch, and we typically don't think of it as a scary movie. But I distinctly remember, even being about 3 or 4 years old, being just absolutely terrified of the velociraptors when they're hunting. Was it Lex and Tim in the kitchen?
Yeah.
And it was just that fear, I guess, is sort of just stuck with me my whole life, really. And I've been trying to chase that high ever since. And then I started writing, I think, probably about, 7 or 8 years old. My parents bought first desktop that I think it was like a Gateway thing, weighed probably like 150 pounds.
Yeah.
And it had that, it came with that stock word processor that I think Windows 98 did, or 95, one of the two. But yeah, just started writing stories. I know I found myself writing a lot of fan fiction early on. So this is kind of brings me back to my roots. So I get to have the opportunity to sort of adapt a story that I found pretty awesome since I was a kid.
So what were some of the earliest fan fictions that you were writing?
Oh man, it's terrible. I would not even want to look at it now, and I'm so glad that that's all probably destroyed. But man, I used to watch Critters a lot growing up. Used to write about that. Used to write a lot of Jaws fan fiction, and just things like that. Things that would pop into my brain. And
So with Critters fan fiction, did you like explore the origins of the bounty hunters? Did you keep it in space? Did you like focus on like just the critters running rampant all over Kentucky? Like what? Now I'm really interested in Critters fan fiction.
Ate everybody. It just pretty much ate everything, and I made it just gory bloodbaths. It was amazing. So yeah, I just started writing, and it really kind of stuck with me, and I always had a knack for it. And always was able to blend my love of horror with writing. And I was starting to write in short stories and things like that, maybe a few years ago. And I always wanted to take a stab at writing screenplays. And that's sort of part of my passion too. I really, really enjoy, creating something that I feel like would translate well onto the screen. And I think it was an idea that I sort of tossed around about sort of chasing, maybe becoming a professional screenwriter. And the idea just sort of instantly popped in my head. It's like, well, why don't I just create a horror movie? Yeah. Why do I just have to, put myself in that box? Why can't I just open that box and go after something that's a lot bigger than I had imagined? So here I am.
That's awesome. So I mean, aside from writing Critters fanfic, growing up, did you go to school for screenwriting, or are you completely self-taught? I guess is the best word I can come up with.
Yeah, no, I went to school for I majored in history. There's a lot of writing involved in that, a lot of papers and everything like that. But yeah, I'm sort of self-taught. I used to write reviews for a horror website called Splat's Blood, and they review a lot of short films and a lot of indie films that were coming down the pipeline. And I got to know one of the directors, and he had made a short film about black-eyed children, I believe, that myth or that folk tale. And so he and I started corresponding, and he sort of tutored me in screenwriting just a bit. But, I've been just consuming as much information as possible since then. So I'm sort of, pretty much self-taught.
That's great. That's inspiring that you just went out and did it. So many people say that they want to do it, or, they wish they did it, but you just buckled down and did it, which is awesome. So
yeah, thank you.
No problem. So, you're in Chicago, right?
Actually, I'd say about 30 minutes south of Chicago.
Okay.
But so like right dead in the middle of soybean fields and cornfields.
Okay, so you're 30 miles away from Chicago, and you have dreams to just go out there and do it. So there is a huge leap between the want to go do something and, like I said, actually going out and do something. So how did you ultimately find Stephen King as a source of inspiration, or Stephen King as a source for a vehicle for you to be able to do this? How did you go about getting on the road to writing and directing One for the Road?
Yeah. So like I may have mentioned before, I can't remember, but the first book that I had read of Stephen King's wasn't actually a book. It was Night Shift, that collection of short stories. And that was the first time I really sort of investigated, his works. I think I bought it at a garage sale, I think, actually, when I was a kid, and I still have the paperback here with me today. And I pick it up from time to time. But
which cover?
One for the Road. It's the I'm the Doorway cover.
Yes, that's the one that I have. That is the cover for me.
It is falling apart. I have to be very careful with it, but pages are falling out and everything. It's awesome.
Sign of a good book.
But yes, and One for the Road always stuck with me. That story, I believe it's one of the last stories in the whole collection, I believe. And as I was making my way through it, sort of bounced around. I didn't get to One for the Road until I actually was about ready to put the book down, and it was just something about that really stuck with me. So I go back to wanting to pursue screenwriting and wanting to pursue film. I kind of didn't know where I wanted to go. I kind of put together about 3 or 4 little screenplays for short film, because I knew I'd probably want to do a short film just to get my name out there at first. But I like to listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to your podcast a lot.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's been before I even got involved in this, so that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
I listen to other Stephen King themed podcasts, and I listen to other book review podcasts and movie podcasts, and it's pretty much all I've been consuming. for a while now, but I listened to a review of One for the Road on a podcast. I think it's called Books and Nachos.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that?
I've heard of those guys. Yeah.
And, yeah. So they were going through the collection too, and they started talking about the Dollar Baby projects that a few filmmakers have made, and that sort of sparked my idea. I said, this is a story that I've absolutely loved since every few years. Why wouldn't I want to do something like this? And that was, I think, back in December, and here we are today.
So how does the Dollar Baby process work? So for listeners who might not be aware of what a Dollar Baby is, can you just explain what a Dollar Baby is and how you went about pursuing this?
Yeah, so basically, I think back in the 70s, King sort of wanted to give back to other creative types who were inspired by his works. I think Frank Darabont was one of the first people, wasn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he did went in the room, and so he offers certain short stories that he has that haven't been purchased by big studios. It allows young filmmakers and sometimes film students as well to sort of adapt his work. And I think it's a part of his website. All you pretty much do is you select the short story you want to adapt. You put all your information in, website, I think, all that jazz. And you just write a short little paragraph talking about what direction you want to take it in, what kind of, or I should say, when I applied, that's sort of the way that I described it, my background and my hopes that I have creating the project. And I'll get submitted, and I think a few days later you're going to get an email. It's got a contract, and you read over the contract, and you sign it, and you send in just a blank dollar bill.
That's incredible. Now, do you have a time limit when you need to make this movie by?
Yeah, so I think it's a year after the date that you put on the contract. I know I'd actually, when I signed my contract back in late January, I'd actually anticipated making it much sooner than I am, but they're very lenient. So I ended up contacting his offices again, and they said that I just contact them when we get closer to actually rolling film. They'll just add an extension to my contract that should allow me more time to get the film made, cut, edited, and submitted to film festivals.
I guess, when we all sit around and we think about, a movie being made, we think of Hollywood studios and these big budget productions. So, I mean, this seems to have like a real, do-it-yourself feel to it. I mean, did you need to get an agent? I mean, are you working with a producer or anything like that?
Yeah, I actually started planning most of the stuff, on my own, on the side, as I was sort of getting into it. And eventually I brought on a producer, and she's actually from where I'm going to be filming the movie. Mm-hmm. So she's got connections and she knows people, and that's pretty awesome. And she's experienced in film. I think she graduated from Biola just about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And she's been in the business ever since. So it's good to have her, helping us plan everything. I think she took care of all the SAG information. Mm-hmm. We created a production company, and In terms of just the logistics of actually filming the movie, you said that you went to school for history. How did you train yourself with the cameras and like just what equipment to use and what was going to be best suited for what you needed to do? Was that a challenge for you? Not necessarily. I sort of, when I adapted the short story, I put it, created the screenplay. I knew everything that I wanted to do.
Hmm.
Sort of had the shot list in my brain as I was even writing it down. And I talked to a couple cinematographers who were really excited about the project, and definitely saw my vision. And I ended up landing with one that his name's Scott Hoffman, and he's out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm actually filming up in the on the Canadian border in Minnesota.
Hmm.
So, yeah, but he offered, I think he's shooting on a 6K Red Dragon, which is going to offer um, some very vibrant shots. And I've got a few scenes in the story that does not take place at night.
Hmm.
And the camera does really well also in low light settings, like in a bar. So I knew that that would work. And he's got like a 4K drone, and that's going to look really awesome because I've got a few ideas for opening and closing scenes,
Okay.
and things like that. But yeah, so when it comes to, sort of understanding that, I trust my cinematographer quite a bit.
Hmm.
Since I'm sort of new into this, everybody that I have involved in the project also knows that too. And they all know that I'm not going to be a stickler on set. I want to allow people to express themselves creatively also. So if somebody comes to me and has an idea, we're going to talk about it. If I think it's super awesome, we're going to go with it. And it's the way it is with actually all of my crew, even all the way down to the production assistant.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that creates for just a much more freeing collaborative experience where everyone just has a say, and then that creates more buy-in. I would think. And the more someone's passionate about a project in all aspects of the film, I mean, you can see the movies where that's the case. So I mean
Right.
that's great that you're taking that particular approach. So I guess my next question would be, clearly you're literally adapting One for the Road, but what are, aside from the original text, just what are some inspirations that you're carrying with you, in the forefront of your brain when you sit down and you want to film this movie? What classic movies, or other stories or other books, what comes to you? What are your aspirations? What are you trying to achieve here visually and in terms of story?
Right. So, um, as goofy as some people tend to think that Toby Hooper's Salem's Lot was, now some is, I've heard people say that it was pretty overacted
Hmm.
and things like that. But I actually really really dug the vampire look, and that's something that we're really going to try to recreate in this film. And made a few changes as well. I know in other adaptations that people have filmed of One for the Road, Booth character is typically um, sometimes younger,
Hmm.
sometimes the same age as Tukey. And then in the short story, they're both older guys. But I made Booth younger in my version because it was something that I felt like um, would help me tell the story better. Because the direction I'm going to take the film is mostly going to be in Booth's perspective, though it's going to encompass all of the things that happen. It's going to hit the same beats as a short story. But I've always had great relationships with my father, with my uncles, with older cousins, people that I could look up to, and that's sort of the Booth character that I have in mind. And the actor that I have playing Booth shares those same feelings as well. Uh, he's an uncle to some wonderful kids. He's also been nephew to some great uncles, and that particular character really stuck out to him. So the two of us have a really good idea of that character, and I think that's going to work pretty well.
Awesome. So you mentioned Salem's Lot, and hopefully everyone listening knows that One for the Road is a pseudo sequel. If you, I guess, if you
Right?
want to
Yeah, I
call
should
it
have said
that.
that. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But I mean that's
I,
that's one of the cool aspects of the story itself, is that it shows
right.
you what life in Maine is like post Salem's Lot. So I mean, just in terms of like studio rights and stuff, I mean, what are you able to play with within your story?
Get that Amex Gold card ready. I'm too tired to cook.
We feeling Five Guys or the Cheesecake Factory?
Both.
Earn up to $120 a year in statement credits at participating partners. Up to $10 each month when you pay with the Amex Gold card. Learn more at americanexpress.com/explore-gold. Enrollment required. Terms apply.
I know that since this is a non-commercial project, I'm not necessarily bound by anything that I know of. I think if I'm putting the story out there to make money off of, I would be bound by some sort of rules, regulations, things like that. And as far as the contract that you signed with King, it doesn't specify, which is why in my story I also kind of hint at other famous locations that King has used in other books as well.
That's awesome.
I think just to give an example, and when Lumley is explaining his story to Tukey and Booth, they're on their way to see their sister, or his wife's sister in Derry.
Perfect.
Things like that.
That's awesome.
And since my story, we're actually filming in September, so it's not going to be obviously in the middle of a snowstorm. I know when they try to phone the sheriff in the short story, they can't because the line's been knocked down from the nor'easter. So, and when Booth makes the phone call and he turns back to Tukey, he says, well, did you let it? Tukey asks him, well, nobody answered. Did you let it patch into dispatch? Booth says something like, well, they're all the way up in Castle Rock. Things like that.
Awesome.
Just little nods to other things, I think.
That's great.
Audience will find pleasing.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been experiencing that lately. Every time I sit down and I see a new, marketing campaign for the Dark Tower, and they've been like really beefing up all the connections to Stephen King works. So, the more that you lean into that, I mean, you're just gonna tickle that fanboy funny bone.
Exactly. Like I actually watched part of the Darabont's The Mist earlier, and you had that geek moment in the beginning.
Oh, right away. Yeah.
With the paintings. So just something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's something that always stood out to me, little Easter eggs.
And I guess my next question would be, so how did you go about finding the location that you ultimately are going to film in? And because snow is so integral to the story itself, how are you going to make that work?
So as far as my locations go, it's more of sort of putting my finger on a map. I'm from Illinois. I know that I'm going to have to travel quite a ways to find a setting that I would actually feel that would fit the story. And I did a lot of research as far as forests, some of the, as far as, I don't know, blanking. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
The vegetation, trees, things like that, the sceneries, how dense the forest is, how clear the forest can be sometimes, how rural the area is going to be, versus, we don't want a backdrop of a city in the background, things like that.
Right.
So, so I found this little town called Rainier up in Minnesota, and it just spoke to me. The Voyager National Park, sort of in that area, and it kind of rides along Rainy Lake. And I did a lot of research into Voyagers, and I knew that place was just going to be awesome. It was just about a 10-hour drive from where I live, and a quick flight, and they have a little airport even in town there anybody can fly into. So I knew the area was going to be accessible, had that small town feel that I wanted, and it offered that rural area that I wanted as well. So that's why I sort of chose that area. And we scouted it a bit, and I'm not sure if you have seen some of the location shots that we've done.
Yeah, I've checked. Yeah, I've definitely seen them. But why don't you describe for our listeners, just what you've been able to find?
Yeah. So as far as the road to Salem's Lot would go, essentially what we're going to be filming on would be something like a good ATV trail.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of dug out as if cars would be driving through, but it's got some really awesome rock formations in the ground that sort of give the look that there once was an asphalt road there, and it had crumbled and fell apart, and it just looked very awesome. And it's really hilly through that whole area. It would offer some very, very atmospheric shots. So, sort of, the area just really spoke to me, and I was just sold. And I got to know a lot of the people in the community, and I just absolutely just fell in love with everyone, and fell in love with the area. It's sort of become my little home away from home, if you will.
So how much time are you? So are you there currently? Are you back home? So where, like, I guess where are you right now?
I'm back at home.
Okay.
Did spend about 3 or 4 days there shooting some material for the Indiegogo campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been up there twice, and I'm actually going up there again for a third time here in a few weeks.
Okay. In terms of the Indiegogo campaign, I have I've been plugging it on the show. So why don't you tell us what the Indiegogo campaign entails? Maybe talk a little bit about the different categories that you can buy into, and just what the progress is so far.
Yeah. So as far as the campaign goes, I sort of have it laid out. Kind of describe where I'm coming at as far as being a filmmaker and being a screenwriter, and what direction I want to take the film in. And I put up quite a few pieces of artwork that we had done. I had a artist out of Minneapolis put together a couple storyboards and some character art. So you've got that up there for everyone to see. And as far as the perks go, sort of modeled them after drinks that you would order at a bar. I found that pretty fitting.
Which was a great touch. I mean, I love that.
And I just felt like it just fit perfectly. But yeah, as far as our perks go, donors can expect things like digital downloads of our original soundtrack, access to view the film, obviously, production stills and official posters. Signed posters, and also we've got crew t-shirts, and we also offer a higher perk. I have a signed crew t-shirt as well. That would be by the cast and crew, and credits like co-producer, associate producer, executive producer, things like that. And one really cool perk that I thought of, sort of envision a scene in the film that after everything on the road transpires with Jane and Gerard, and we sort of, our heroes, our protagonists anyways, sort of disappear, running from the chaos that they had just seen. Sort of envision, as we have sort of voiceover from the older Booth character. Mm-hmm. We'd focus in on a missing poster of the Lumley family. Mm-hmm. And then the camera would pull back and reveal just dozens of other missing posters. And so one of our perks is you donate, send us a photo of you or someone, friend, family, doesn't matter. But we'll feature you on one of the missing posters.
So cool. That's a really clever perk right there. And I guess one of the perks that I'm most excited about, which brings me to the next thing that we can talk about, is, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the perks, if you donate, and I can't remember which amount of money it is, but you could share a scene with the one, the only legendary Lance Hendrickson, correct?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, there's two perks that involve that. It's the Mai Tai and the Bloody Mary. One's 1,500 and the other one's 2,000.
Okay, so that is incredible news. As a longtime fan of that actor, first of all, congratulations on nabbing Lance Hendrickson for the role. That's a huge get.
Yeah, I don't think I have even processed it yet.
Yeah, that was
A lot of
crazy
other
when you
people
told me
have.
that. I could not believe that you got him. That's awesome. So how did that work out? Did you envision him for the role? Did you like have just a list of different actors that you know the like a wish list? How did that work out, and how did you wind up reaching out to him and just walk us through that whole story?
Yeah, so it started with writing the screenplay. The short story had that first person narration, and I knew that I sort of wanted to do that, but I also knew that my Booth character was going to be younger, and I knew that I wanted an older character to be sort of telling the story. So I sort of created this old Booth character to sort of open the film and then close the film, and I think Lance was just one of my top choices, and so basically it was actually a pretty simple process, and I actually was very pleased when I was able to hear back from his manager. So just basically emailed her, told her my ideas for the film, sent her the shooting draft, and from there we sort of talked back and forth, and Lance ended up reading it. He said that he loved it, and he was on board.
That's crazy. That's so cool. That is so cool.
I know.
So when you reach the funding that you need, when would production go? When would it start?
Well, our tentative shooting dates right now, September 18th through the 22nd. So about a month after the campaign would wrap. So August is going to be a pretty busy month for me.
Yeah.
Into September, yeah.
And what about the other actors that you have working with you? Can you tell us a little bit about them and how you wound up getting them?
Shop the Sherwin-Williams winter sale and get 30% off paints and stains January 9th through the 19th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
Yeah, so as far as Tukey, it's played by Don Scribner. Actually, my special effects makeup artist is from Rainier, but he sort of grew up there his whole life, and he got to know, when he was a younger man, Don Scribner, who is local to that area as well. Well, Don ended up growing up, becoming an actor, moving to LA, and sort of has been writing the B film circuit for a while now. He's just such an awesome guy. And I had the chance to speak with him. My special effects makeup artist, Rick Holland, put me in contact. And so that's how we sort of developed our friendship out of that. And Matt Roy is going to be playing the younger Booth. And actually, he runs a little production company out of Minneapolis. And I had sort of inquired about maybe him filling a position on my crew, I think. And then, we started talking back and forth about the film. And then I don't know why it did not dawn on me, but he was also an actor. So then we started talking about his experience, and he told me he had a little role in I Am Not a Serial Killer.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with that movie at all. Yeah, he played that sort of homeless man that was killed by Christopher Lloyd out on the ice.
Oh my God!
So,
okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it's sort of a role, but as soon as he told me that, I instantly knew exactly who he was, and we started talking more about the character, where I wanted to go with it, and that just all just came together right there, right in front of the two of us. And as far as Gerard goes, I know I've seen other adaptations. I've read the story clearly hundreds of times.
Yeah.
and the way that Gerard always sort of was portrayed in my mind as some sort of naive, sort of crybaby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I knew that I wanted to do something a bit different with Gerard. I wanted him to be sympathetic. I wanted the audience to see the pain and to see his fears and to see the struggle and all of the emotions that he's going through. So I started looking, again, for actors in that area, and I came across Daniel Belinsky, and I was able to catch a few of his movies. And that's sort of the character that he's always played. He's always played somebody who's struggled and who's always able to, and he's always been able to convey serious emotion. And that really spoke to me. So he and I started talking and, got him on board as well.
Cool, man. Like, it's just I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask earlier, did you say that you were 3 years old when Jurassic Park came out?
Yeah. Well, what year did it come out?
I think 93? It was 1993. How old are you?
Maybe 4. I'm 28 right now.
28, okay.
So I was born in 89.
All right. So, I mean, to hear someone that is still, relatively young, that you are just, using, I guess, like a vampire metaphor, you are just bearing down on life, in the jugular. It is so inspiring to hear, because I think about myself when I was 28 years old, and I was just kind of a mess. And I couldn't imagine, like, going out and having this vision to be able to, write this script and then say, from this script, I'm going to actually build an entire movie, and then scouting it and, finding the locations that I would need to shoot, talking to special, makeup, effects, and talking to cinematographers and actors, and, everything that you're doing is not the type of things that, when we go to school and the things that we are taught, these are not the things that are taught to us. So
right.
to hear that, you at 28 years old, you had this vision, and, this was not experience that you had, but you taught yourself how to do it. I think that for anyone listening, we might not, those of us listening might not, go out and make a movie, but hopefully, people are listening and can see that if you, have the wherewithal and the resolve to go out and do this, that we all can just step outside our comfort zones and attack life and try and make something. So what you are doing, aside from making a movie, Josh, you are also creating inspiration for everyone out there that, might be, creative in some regard, but might be hesitant at the same time to actually pursue those creative indulgences. So just as a creative type myself, just thank you for doing what you're doing, because you're not just making a vampire movie, you're also you're doing it, and that's important. So when you meet your goal, you make your movie, what is next? What would the next step be?
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. Tax free edition only. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple form 1040 returns only. Now this is taxes.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
Intuit TurboTax Free Edition. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
Yeah, I've sort of, and thank you for those kind words.
Yeah,
and
no
that's, I've always sort of found myself doing that. And I don't know if it's just something that I was born with, but certain things, motivations tend to come naturally. But I think it was the story of Stephen King's Daughter Babes that really spoke to me as well, too. Is that, he wanted to inspire creativity in people and allow them to express themselves artistically, because film's an art. That's the way I've always looked at it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of something that I also wanted to do with my production crew. Like I spoke earlier, I want to see everyone's creativity come through. And actually, my composer is just a small town guy from Rainier. He's just a self-taught musician. He works on riffs, and I know he's done some game composing on the side. But it's just something he's always been passionate about. And instead of contacting someone who is sort of involved in film composition, things like that, I wanted to give him the opportunity to put his name out there, put his stuff out there, let everybody see some of the awesome things that he's got to offer everyone else. Like you said, it's much more than just making a vampire film.
Yeah.
And it's so awesome that that you acknowledge that, and thank you again for the kind words.
Of course. I mean, it's what you're doing is it's important stuff. I mean, when it's all done, I mean, are you going to pursue another Dollar Baby? Do you have anything that's percolating, next steps for you?
I've been so consumed with this film that I just really haven't thought about it. I know it's not the end of the road for me, pun intended.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to be doing some screenwriting, and hopefully this film will get my name out there, and things like that, and living the dream,
So in terms of writing, you said you started out writing fanfic, and then you segued into writing some short stories. So I mean, are you focusing primarily on writing scripts? Are you still writing short stories? Have you dabbled in a novel?
Yeah, so I've always been writing creative fiction, and writing screenplays is about the same thing. But I've always it's writing screenplays. I always found just be much more fulfilling than writing a book or writing a short story, because I know what I'm writing can be translated into film, and I could just picture it instantly, and I know what would work, and at least I think I know what would work, and it's just always been something that I had so much fun writing. So I think I'm just going to focus right now on screenplays.
Now, when you're writing the screenplays, what are some aspects of writing that come easy to you, and what are some of the aspects that are more challenging to you?
As far as writing screenplays, I think since I wasn't classically trained, sort of self-taught, and I spoke of some tutoring that I had on the side. I think it was more of just the format and structure. I think is something I had to get used to. But now that I'm completely used to it, it just flows right out of me. And in a screenplay, you don't necessarily have to be so creative, because you don't want to be long-winded in your descriptions. So you focus on just very fine points. And I think that speaks to me. It gives me the ability to convey maybe about a paragraph or two that you would find in a short story in a line or two in the screenplay. And knowing that would translate well into film just always spoke to me. So
fantastic. All right, so Josh, we are currently making this movie in the midst of a Stephen King renaissance. So I can't think of a better time for you to actually be doing this. So with the yesterday, New Line Cinema dropped the second trailer for It. Next week we have The Dark Tower coming out. Sometime next year we have Castle Rock coming out on Hulu. So of all of the Stephen King projects that are about to hit, screens, all the different kinds of screens that are coming up. I mean, I know that the one that you're looking forward to the most is One for the Road, but other than One for the Road, I mean, what do you look at? Like, what is like really getting you jazzed more than anything else?
I think It right now is number one on my radar. I actually do not crucify me, but I have not read his Dark Tower series. I haven't picked any of them up. Yeah, okay, thank you. But so I don't know the story. You know, I've listened to you discuss it, and I've listened to other podcasts and other people discuss it as well. I'm interested, but I think the most that I've got excited about recently is it. Like you said, they just dropped that new trailer yesterday, and it looks pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so
it really does. So I mean, were you a fan of the Tim Curry version?
Oh yeah. So like I told you before, my parents had no filter, so of course as a kid I was watching it on TV and everything like that.
Yeah.
And my mom still tells me today that she worked at a nursing home when I was younger, and her friends would always just vilify her for allowing a young child to sit and watch that miniseries. But I thank her for it.
Yeah,
because
it worked out in the end.
It created something in me.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I do definitely remember that, and you know, I get into discussions with family and friends about where this film is going versus, you know, the Tim Curry one, and everybody always talks about how awesome Tim Curry is. Mm-hmm. But I'm actually really excited about the new Pennywise myself.
It's a really good look, and everything I've read, you know, I just the amount of thought that went into the construction of this new Pennywise, I'm very impressed. So I'm more excited about this than I really thought I was going to be. So it's just really a great time to be a Stephen King fan.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't even really, you know, pick up on all this stuff, you know, back in January when I first really started, you know, working on this. You know, I mean, I don't think Dark Tower is even on too many people's radar back in January.
Yeah, it's still
yeah, because it was still like pretty dead, it seemed.
Yeah. At
that time, and I knew that we knew it was coming out, but yes, I don't think I knew that the Mist TV series was coming out, and we certainly didn't know anything about Castle Rock. Mm-hmm. So all of this stuff started to come out as I was making this film, and it was just I was just a geek at Christmas.
Yeah. So I know that, you know, you had referenced Tobe Hooper's Salem's Lot, which you know, the fact that you're gonna, you know, reference the vampire look from that movie is, I think that's a really great touch, because that image, that cover, I think, of Salem's Lot, the movie with Barlow just hovering over the Marston house. It's one of the more iconic images from horror, the horror genre. So I mean that
definitely,
that image is you know, it's very Nosferatu, but there are some differences between that and the Nosferatu vampire. So if you are you know, going to be incorporating some of that look, that's definitely a smart move on your part. But in terms of, I guess, other Stephen King adaptations, you know, there's a lot of debates out there about, you know, what constitutes a good Stephen King adaptation, what constitutes a poor Stephen King adaptations. But what are some of your favorite, you know, translations out there that have been made throughout the years?
Right. So, you know, I think I even just posted today on Instagram. I'm actually going to be watching it tonight. Night Flyer is probably my favorite.
And so glad that you said that. I think that Night Flyer needs more love. More people need to talk about that movie. No one talks about that movie.
I don't even see anybody talking about it at all either. You know, I looked just curious as far as, you know, how much even the DVD of it is running, and must have had just a fairly limited release, because some of them are original packaging is going for, you know, up to $60 to $70. So that tells me that not many people own it. You know what I mean? And it's never ever played on television or any cable channels. So and yeah, I loved Miguel Ferrer in that film. I love the vampire look. That the scene with I can't believe that I'm blanking. Renfield. Mm-hmm. Just peeing into the urinal.
Yeah.
And Miguel looking back, and all he sees is just him urinating. It's amazing. Just all the small touches. You know, some of the minor characters. they just have so much. I don't even know. I'm geeking out right now. I don't have any. I don't have any words.
I mean that movie. I enjoyed. I enjoyed it when it first came out because I distinctly remember going out to my local movie rental store and renting it. And then it was a movie that I would just rent here and there. I mean, not often, but here and there, and watch it. And I finally remembered it. And then I really enjoyed it again for the purposes of reviewing the podcast. And, watching it again with some years distance between when I had first watched it, I had worried that it might be cheesy upon rewatch. But no, that movie, I think that it's very effective. The director knew exactly what he wanted to do. And some stylistic choices that he made, like when he just switches to black and white at the end and the mist is rolling in. It just looks great. The movie looks good. And I just don't feel like there was a big budget. So, I think that how they used their money was just dead on. Like you said, Miguel Ferrer, rest in peace, was just... incredible, perfect for that role. He knew exactly how to play Richard Dees. The vampire look, the music, like the movie. I'm glad to hear that you like this movie because more people, no one ever, when they talk about Stephen King adaptations, they talk about Carrie and they talk about it, they talk about the Shining one way or another, but no one talks about The Night Flyer, and it just that confounds me, because that movie really is. It's a great visualization of what that short story is.
Yeah, definitely. And it's another short story that I revisit, every once in a while too. And like you said, for Miguel plays the perfect skeezy tabloid reporter.
So good at it.
Yeah, it's just amazing. He was able to, pull it off in that way. And and the vampire look, my God, that's probably one of my favorite as far as on-screen vampires go. I think that look is just amazing.
Yeah, it's so distinct.
Yeah, and even I remember reading the story and King describing having those giant holes in the sides of their necks. Just was amazing. I just loved it.
So aside from Night Flyer, any other adaptations that you gravitate towards? Like
I said, I was watching a little bit of The Mist earlier. I've always enjoyed that film. I may be one of the few people that can appreciate the ending. I know that is a bone of contention among many people.
I don't get it. I don't get why people have an issue with that ending. I've really tried to put myself in the shoes of people that reject the ending. I don't get it because to me the ending makes sense. It really shows the despair of the Thomas Jane character for him to have to do what he did. It just really, I can't think of a more impactful way to show what despair looks like.
And definitely, and Thomas Jane does an amazing job of that too.
Yeah, that it's hard. That last scene it's really hard to watch. No, that movie's dope. That's a great movie right there.
Definitely.
All right, man. So we've been talking for almost an hour now. So we have the Indiegogo campaign, which all we have to do is just go to Indiegogo.com and then type in One for the Road, right? And it will just come up.
Yeah. Yep. You'll see it. Not sure exactly where it places on the list, but it's up there.
Okay. And for more information regarding One for the Road, where might we direct our listeners?
We've got the website. It's just onefortheroad2018.com. I post updates. You can find all the information about the cast, the crew. You can contact me directly through a form on there as well. And we have a Facebook page. It's One for the Road 2018, I believe. And you can just like the page. And I share statuses that I share on my own personal account. And I also, update through that Facebook page. And I'm on Instagram, always posting about this stuff at I think it's at JD Brucker. And I'm also on Twitter doing the same thing under the same handle at JD Brucker. And I think that's it.
All right, Josh, I'm really excited. I look forward to seeing the final product. And, we'll definitely be in touch. And then sometime during production, we should schedule a time to just check in with each other, see how everything's going. And any final words that you want to give our listeners?
I just look forward to creating something that I feel like Stephen King horror fans, Lance Henriksen fans are just going to absolutely love. And everybody involved is super excited about the project and all of our contributors. And we just hope that they're excited just as much as we are.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. There is our interview with writer-director Josh Brucker of the upcoming One for the Road film. So, as he and I discussed in this almost hour-long conversation, just head on over to Indiegogo.com, type in One for the Road, and then just look through the different options of what you can contribute. It can be as low as $5. If you have $5 and everyone that listens to the Stephen King cast just donates $5, this movie will get made. It's really as simple as that. So, and how cool would it be to know that when you sit down and watch that movie, that you had a hand in making it happen, that you were in turn helping out one of the members of our quartet into realizing a dream. So, and also, everything that Josh was saying, this applies to all of us. If you have a dream, if you have a vision, if you have a creative spark, you too can ignite that spark into a flame. So whatever you're doing, whatever your creative purpose is, all you have to do is just, and it sounds asinine saying it, but you just have to do it. You just have to shut off all the electronics and just do the work. If you do the work at something that you love, you'll be able to get it done. And then you'll be able to just reap the rewards of knowing that you went out and did it. So let's all help Josh and his dream of getting One for the Road off of the ground. As I said, this is one of Stephen King's better short stories, and I would love to see it realized into an actual movie, and I now have an opportunity to help make that happen. So head on over to Indiegogo.com, type in One for the Road, donate what you can, head on over to the IMDb page, head on over to onefortheroad2018.com, and then like it and follow it on Facebook for all the updates. Okay, guys, so that's the end of this particular episode. And next week, guys, next week is a big week. Next week is a huge week. Next week we see the release of The Dark Tower. It's happening, guys, and I'll be seeing it Wednesday night. And I will make sure to get my thoughts out as soon as possible. There might be an episode between this episode and The Dark Tower. There might not be. I don't know. But just in case there isn't an episode, it's coming, guys. It's coming. And just today, Junkie XL released the music, the original soundtrack for The Dark Tower, and I've been listening to some of it, and it is intense. So when I think of The Dark Tower, when I think of Roland especially, I think of someone that's intense, dangerous, and mysterious, and those three adjectives can be used to describe the soundtrack itself. So it's very, very appropriate, and Roland's theme is badass, and I cannot wait to see that music paired with Idris Elba. So I am getting very, very excited about what this movie is going to look like. I bought the Art of the Dark Tower movie, and I looking through that book, it shows just how much thought went into being faithful to the core of what the Dark Tower is. So though there's going to be changes, the changes that are going to be made are only going to be made to encompass the entirety of the Dark Tower itself. So all the changes are being made to make it the most Dark Tower it can be, I guess is how I can say it. But I'm excited. And if you haven't gotten your tickets, you can go get them on Fandango.com. So why don't you guys do that? Because at the very least, if you're worried about the movie, if you don't like the casting, if you don't like the direction of the movie, and you don't like all the changes, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You're getting a Dark Tower movie, and putting money down on a Dark Tower movie is only going to make the possibility of another Dark Tower movie happening. So if you prove to Sony that you want this movie, Sony will greenlight a movie that will probably be more faithful to the one that you're looking for. So with all that said, the next episode, or an episode after next episode, next week, I'm going to go see The Dark Tower, and I will definitely be reviewing it. I can't wait, guys. I can't wait. So I'm really excited about this. In the meantime, may you have long days and pleasant nights, and I will see you here next time, where MOON spells Stephen King.